Welcome into the Bitcoin Crypto Happy Hour. Cheers, everybody. I'm having a Spanish red. And I got this exquisite wine. Are you ready for this? I got this from Costco. Now, welcome in. Felt that the shirt was very appropriate given the title of the thumbnail, Bitcoin number go up. We have a lot of we have a lot of stuff to discuss here. You can see my notes there. So I wrote down a ton of different things to talk about today. I don't even know that we're going to get to everything. Some of this stuff might actually carry in to next week, the more I've been thinking about it. Also, a lot of charts, as always, to get into. You know, I'll take your TA questions, as always. But I hope everybody's week is starting off well. Just for what's up, Nick? Whoop. Glad to see you in, brother. Busy making videos every day. You're churning out you're putting me to shame. You're churning out like 10 videos a day, and here I am trying to squeak by and get like 4 videos out a week. So good to see you here. Hope your week is going well. Hope everybody's week is going well. Pretty status quo here. Work is really starting to pick up. November is going to be a very busy month. So it's going to be a lot more challenging to get the videos out, but I will keep them coming out. You know, one of the things I wanted to update everybody quickly on, for those that were here and paying attention, originally I had signaled that 4 videos a day every day. Nick, this is why I can't watch all your videos. You make so many videos that it's impossible for me to keep up with all your videos. For everybody here who can recall, I had signaled to you that I'd sort of be out of commission over these next, I love it, keep grinding. I'd be out of commission here over the course of the next week. I'm traveling up to northern Florida to get surgery on my elbow. That was slated to go. Definitely ran into a couple obstacles there. So, in short, I've been transferring my medical documents down here to South Florida. It should be easier for me to get that procedure anyway. So, I am not having that surgery next week. I have an office visit on, I think, the 9th of November to kind of have a powwow and review all my MRI results and stuff and make sure that they agree on what needs to be done. And then hopefully at that point, I will be scheduling my surgery. So I am, as much as I'm not looking forward to it, I am looking forward to it because it's been a pain in the ass. So just a quick update there. Speaking of the gym, I don't know who here, anybody here is a frequent gym goer? One of the things that I was laughing about with someone today is I was using a machine. At the end of my workout, I was using a lat pull down machine. And it's like all the old people, it's like flies on shit. They're just all over the machines. They do not do any free weights. So like my stuff is on a machine. Like I'm clearly there. And you just have someone like come up and they're just like, and they start to put their stuff down. I'm like, and especially if it's an older woman, like I am super, super, super polite. But I'm like, oh, excuse me, I still have another set. Oh, you still have another set? Yeah, that's why all my shit's there. But you just see all these old people gravitate towards the machines, and it's just kind of comical. But thanks, Nick. I appreciate it. So by the way, it's a pretty minor surgery. It's nothing major. I mean, the only quote unquote major thing about it is because I'm such a dedicated lifter. The idea of even just a couple weeks of rehab and just being sort of unable to do certain things, like it's very small. In the grand scheme of things, it's very small, but it's still a tough thought to process. So, yeah, arthroscopic elbow surgery is something pretty minor. They just sort of clean out the elbow and get the bone spurs out of there, and definitely not a big deal. You know, I want to give everybody credit. I want to give everyone credit who has remained in this market. We're going to look at a few charts and kind of talk about what's going on in the charts and why a number is going up. But I want to give everyone credit who has stuck in the market this long. You know, I was thinking this morning, actually, when I was at the gym, I was thinking it was a combination of working out And I was also thinking of investing in cryptocurrencies and sort of the trials and tribulations I've been through sort of throughout my lifting career and throughout my cryptocurrency investing career, as well as my actual professional career. You know, one thing I want to pass along to everyone is one of the beautiful things about truly grinding at something and working hard. If you believe in yourself and you're very positive and you're patient, you're going to succeed. But it's not just succeeding at this point in time. What happens is if you have that mindset, you have setbacks, right? Failure is falling and refusal to get up. Okay? Everybody has setbacks. Setbacks are the most beautiful of things because it should push you harder. Weak people, when they have a setback, they make excuses and they give up. That's a weak-minded individual. Strong-minded individual is somebody who has a setback and uses it as motivation to push forward. So one of the beautiful things about success is the more you keep at something, the more is this cumulative effect. And what I was thinking of is sort of like building a fortress, right? I feel like for myself that I've sort of accumulated successes over time through hard work. And because of that, I've sort of built a fortress. Okay, I've built a fortress for myself. And it's going to take, it would take something astronomical to break down the fortress. I'm going to have setbacks. I've stared success in the eye and nearly been there at the goal on so many occasions on different things, but then didn't hit it and took a stumble backwards, right? That has happened multiple times throughout my life. But anything that I've truly believed in, I've just persisted at it. And eventually, whatever the goal was attained. Okay? And over time, when you're having those trials and tribulations and you're having a moment where you doubt yourself, if you've built a fortress of successes over time, you've built a strong house, you have that to lean on. You have that to fall back on. So as much as you feel, I was having a day today. I was honestly having a day today, just stuff in my personal life and stuff, even in crypto and just everything. I don't know. I just felt negative about a lot of stuff. And I, as positive as I seem, you know, I get days like that, just like anybody else. I don't know. I was just having a day today. Maybe it was because I didn't sleep well last night. I don't know. But I was having that moment, and then I sort of shook myself out of it by just telling myself, look, you know, you've been through X, Y, and Z before. Like, you've gotten through that, you know? And even in those moments where it looked pretty bleak or it was really rough and you had people chiming in your ear certain things, that's one of the things you got to watch out for. Even sometimes people who love you and support you, they what you find is they have a personality trait where they're negative. So you really have to be able to filter out and keep your distance from certain people in certain respects. But you know, I had to remind myself of all that stuff. I had to remind myself of all that stuff and sort of center myself today because I was just having one of those days. One of those days where I really just needed to lean on the fortress, if you will, lean on the fortress of successes that I've built up over time and not doubt myself. So just keep that in mind moving forward. I give everybody credit who's been here and is just grinding away, you know, is doing the due diligence, is researching the market. I give you guys a lot of credit. Connor, welcome in, my friend. Appreciate the support there. Yeah, I try to tweet out stuff that's meaningful to everyone. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. So what I want to do is I have several things sort of jotted down here, some news events that I wanted to get into. I'm not going to be able to hit on all this stuff. It's just too much information, or this, you know, I'm going to be on here for like 2 hours. So we'll hit on what I would call the most important ones, and then what we will do is anything that I don't get to, I'll just sort of save for next week. So this is kind of this is something that I needed to speak to, okay? And this surrounds, you know, guys and gals, if you follow me on Twitter at Crypto Bull God, and sometimes even on Instagram at Crypto Bull God, it's mainly like gym stuff, motivational stuff. But sometimes I put Twitter stuff up there. I put crypto stuff up there. People, I think, I don't know if I wouldn't say this is fortunate or unfortunate. I knew it was just a matter of time. But even a couple of people apparently from work have discovered me on YouTube, which is not something that I wanted. This is sort of my separate life from work, but my message to them was, okay, that's cool and everything, but let's just keep this on the down low. Okay, this is work life is work life and personal life is personal life. So, but anyway, if you if you've been following me for a while, what you know is that I've been speaking to being very self-aware and educated in terms of when the Fed pivots. But what do I mean by that? What I mean is essentially what the Bank of England did. We covered this, and I'm not going to go into all of this, but the Bank of England took a very strong stance on increasing interest rates to curb inflation, just like the United States. But then when there was a bond crisis, without going into all the technicalities essentially of artificially low interest rates at zero and then hiking them way up and bonds becoming a lot more expensive or having a higher yield, when these dynamics shifted and there was a crisis in the bond market, the Bank of England stepped in and intervened and essentially injected liquidity. And once again, we have quantitative easing. Quantitative easing is essentially creating credit in the system. Okay, so just as a quick refresher for all those who haven't been here or who haven't heard this in a while, fiat dollars, every currency in the world, including the United States dollar, is a fiat dollar. So what that means is it's backed by nothing but government officials. They're promised to sort of manage that process, right? So at will, they can print new dollars. We often refer to the printer going off, right? But really the quickest way to inject liquidity into the system is to create credit. That's really how the dollar system expands, okay? How the supply gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and how it erodes the purchasing price of your dollar. Why everything just seemingly it takes more dollars to purchase something is because there's more of it. There's more dollars. It's less scarce, right? So it takes a lot more of it to purchase something. It's the basic law of economics. You don't need to be an economist to know this. So the Bank of England pivoted in this way. So what I'm saying to everyone, I want you to look at these headlines. Janet Yellen, gotta love Janet Yellen. She was here in the 2008 financial crisis. Janet Yellen flags potential for buybacks of Treasury securities. Yellen taking steps to enhance Treasury market. Again, these are signs of essentially creating liquidity and credit in the system, and it's a form of quantitative easing. Okay, that's what this is. So when and there are, let me see here. I wanted to pull this up too. You can see I Googled it. But there's a headline here in CNBC just one day ago, right? And I've kind of signaled to this before that Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve Chairman, he is again facing a lot of pressure, right? There's articles out there, there's rumors, okay, being put out to the Washington Post that essentially there are people within the Federal Reserve who are very concerned that the magnitude of interest rate hikes that have occurred over the past several months, like I had tweeted out, is very alarming and could have some negative ramifications, not just in the United States, but even more so overseas in more struggling countries, foreign countries, right? Well, fucking shocker. You know, I'm not an expert, and I'm not going to pretend to have the knowledge that this guy has. He's a very smart guy, despite whatever I say. He's obviously a very smart individual to be in the position he's in, okay? He knows a lot more about economic policy than I am. I'm not going to sit here and... Actually, I'm not sitting. No, I'm not sitting right now. I'm standing. This is a standing desk. But I'm not going to stand here and pretend to you to be some expert that I'm not. But I know enough... I have enough common sense to understand that if you're essentially artificially keeping interest rates at zero and then you're pumping up the interest rates by such a strong magnitude in a matter of a mere months, that's going to have some negative ramifications because there's a lag in recognition until the rise in interest rates are realized. It just makes sense. But what I want you guys to really pay attention to, okay, He's supposed to come out and speak, and the expectation is we're rising interest rates consistent with the past several months by 0.75%. My expectation, I would be shocked. I'd be pretty surprised. I wouldn't say shocked. I'd be pretty surprised if he doesn't move forward with the 0.75%. That's not what I mean by pivot, okay? My expectation is he's still going to come out and increase interest rates by 0.75%. Is there a possibility that he could really indicate a pivot by saying we're only increasing interest rates, we're backing off, and we're not going to be as hawkish and essentially increase interest rates by that much, and we're going to do 0.5%? Sure, that's a possibility. I'm not personally leaning that way or counting on it. What you need to listen to are the word choices. That's what you need to listen to. So if he's been very, very hawkish in saying we're going to do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, we're going to use our tools. I love when they say this. I love when he comes out and says the word tools. There's not many tools that he can do, okay? There's quantitative easing, quantitative tightening, and then there's controlling interest rates. That's really all the fucking tools that we're talking about here. So I don't really know why he has to use this terminology, but it sounds fancy, He's got tools and he can do quantitative easing or tightening. But anyway, what I would watch out for are his word choices. Does he indicate anything to the extent, for example, that they're still moving forward with 0.75%, but while they're giving considerations to inflation and they still have this task, he says task or responsibility, whatever he says, task of controlling inflation, that there are conversations that they need to be mindful of how this is impacting other sectors of the economy, and it's a very fluid situation. And so, there's basically just rhetoric on his behalf that makes it seem like he's not being as aggressive. Listen to the word choices. I will be very keen on this. I think, when is he coming out? November 2nd next week to signal things, I think. Let me see here, actually. When is the next meeting where he comes out and everybody's listening to it? Maybe I should do a live stream. I don't know. It's going to be during the workday. I don't know that I can really do a live stream unless if it's over my lunch hour. Guess I could do a live stream. We could talk about it, but it might be a little fucking boring. Either way, I'll cover it on the happy hour next week if it is next week. I think it's on the 2nd. But you really just want to listen to the word choices. He's not going to come out. A Fed pivot doesn't mean he's going to come out and say we're halting interest rate increases or we're backing off of interest rate increases. Just listen to the tone. Listen to the word choices, okay? Clearly, the Bank of England took a strong stance and came out and completely turned about face and rescued the market. Do you not think, these are signs here, these signs from Yellen are signs that liquidity is drying up, credit is drying up. What happened in 2008? The source of the financial problem, yes, it was a housing crisis, but what causes that crisis is when credit dries up. Institutions, banks don't lend to one another. They are afraid of who's going to go insolvent and who's going to fail. I don't know if you guys were paying attention, okay? And this was very early on. I wasn't even the crypto bull god at this point. But in 2000, this is a great example. In 2019, this was September of 2019. Okay, this was before the beer virus. The repo market saw an extremely high pump in interest rates. Now, what the hell's going on there? What's a repo rate, right? This is not the repo man from the WWF back in the 1990s. Shout out to the repo man. That's what I always think of when I hear that. The repo market is essentially this behind-the-scenes market that takes place where banking institutions, banks, let's just call them banks lend money to one another. Again, credit is at the backbone of what creates additional fiat dollars, okay? And it's at the heart of the monetary system, okay? So banks lend to one another. So why all of a sudden would it be alarming, or why would interest rates spike up, right? Well, there could be two main reasons for this. The first reason is that there could be fear, okay, that someone is in dire need of capital. So there's a bank out there that's like in financial distress and they need access to capital. And so it's going to be a lot more because of think about this. Why would an interest rate then increase really high if there's risk of some bank going insolvent? There's a lot of risk there. There's risk of insolvency. There's risk of default. So it's going to be really expensive to borrow debt. Make sense, right? Think about you as a person. Just bring it home. If this isn't making sense, think of you as a person. If you go out to get a loan and you have a great credit score, you're going to get an awesome loan. If you have a really shitty score and you're piss poor at your finances, you're going to get a really high interest rate because you have a high default risk, right, on the loan. You have a high risk of not being able to make the payments, right? So that's one reason that the repo rate could have jumped so high. The other reason is because none of the banks in that market wanted to lend to one another. It became so expensive to borrow because a lot of the banks withdrew from the pool of money that was available to lend to one another because they saw something going on. Now, what's interesting is this took place right before the beer virus. Okay. Now, we had not seen a hike in the interest rate environment in the repo market in 2019. We hadn't seen it spike that high since before the housing market crash in 2008. The same thing happened. Liquidity dried up. It became expensive for banks to borrow between one another because there were risks of default amongst the banks. Everybody was sort of like, who's going to fucking default here? You know, and so liquidity dried up and it became really expensive to borrow money. And at that point, in both, for instances, by the way, in both of those situations, the Federal Reserve, guess what they did? Guess what they did? They injected liquidity into the system. They just created dollars. That's what and this goes at the heart of Bitcoin in terms of why I was so passionate about it when I first became invested, is just the premise of it, that it is a fixed supply. There's no intermediary. It's peer-to-peer. There's nobody controlling it, despite what you might hear. But yeah, the Federal Reserve came in and injected quantitative easing and propped everything up so it wouldn't fail. So what I would do is I would pay attention to the two things. One, I would pay attention to the word choices that Federal Powell says. The second thing is I would make sure to go to alternative news outlets to understand if there are any alarming things going on behind the scenes, just like the repo market, right? Hell, I'm not a housing market expert, okay, retail expert. But we saw the housing market go on fire. I know someone that bought a house in March 2021, and I told her that she got in at the perfect time because she got in at a really low interest rate and got a really great deal in her house. And I know at one point I jokingly said to her, you should fucking sell now because you're going to make bank on your house. But again, real estate, all kidding aside, real estate over time appreciates massively in value. It's great. It's a great investment tool to have. But the point is we've gone through such a massive surge in real estate that it wouldn't be surprising to see some sort of larger correction take place in real estate. And it's going to vary market to market, but all these things are things you just need to be concerned of and cognizant of, right? I would not go to, these headlines are interesting to read, like CNBC here, but I would go to alternative news outlets. The bigger news outlets that I tend to turn to that I actually do like, I like Bloomberg, I like Reuters, and why the heck am I forgetting the other one? There's one other one that I'm forgetting, but I tend to avoid. I could care less what CNBC says. I just see what the narrative is. I definitely don't go to what the hell, CNN or Fox News. Like, no, I don't do, because they're very politically driven. So I do not go to those news outlets. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to cover here. Let's see if there's any questions on that repo man in the IRS. Hey. Nick, in all seriousness, in terms of XRP, I got to tell you, I did so much research. I have done so much research on Ripple and XRP and that technology. I spent a lot of time in 2018 and 19 in particular, and even 20, just researching all the things surrounding Nostro Vostro accounts and what they were. What they've been going after, and there's a huge market potential there. So, yeah, that's no joke. Yeah, I didn't see her tweet, Connor. I didn't see her. I didn't see her tweet. I think there was something I replied to her on that I think she said. You know what I can't. Here's what I can't stand real quick. We'll jump off this and go to some more entertaining news. What I can't stand with her, and I do this with other people, is, and some, I don't reply all the time. I don't want to troll people, but at the same time, when somebody has, agreed, Nick, when somebody has a very large following and they come out and they tweet something that just adds no value, sometimes I like to call attention to that. So she came out and said something to the effect of, Bitcoin's going to go to this level and then create a new all-time low. But then there was like no support. She provided zero supporting evidence. So I just said, I was very sarcastic and just said essentially like, oh, this is really interesting. Like, what supporting technical analysis do you have to support this this conclusion or this theory? And of course, I'm not going to get a reply. I can't even blame the no reply on some. I can't even blame the reply on some shirtless individual holding a sword in a Harmony with a Harmony logo and an H Barbarian hat, H bar hat. I actually have a legit logo now, thanks to Nicholas. I don't know if your full name is Nicholas. Are you offended if I call you Nicholas? I'll just say Nick. Thanks to Encash. But good evening, Shante. I haven't seen you in a while. I have not seen you in a while. I think it's Shanta. Sorry, Shanta, not Shante. Glad to see you back. I haven't seen it, but I do recognize the name, though. So I recognize a lot of people here who have been here for a while. By the way, this is a happy hour. What is everyone having for happy hour? I am having a glass of red wine from a really exquisite winery known as Costco. All right. So let's get into some entertaining news. Has anyone seen this? This is legit. So apparently, now, if you're not aware, you're really behind the eight ball at this point. Glad to have you back. You're really behind the eight ball at this point if you don't know, but the sale of Twitter finally went through to Elon Musk, which I personally think will most likely be a great thing. I think it's a great thing because I think Twitter in many ways was trending in the wrong direction. So what's funny about this is, apparently, there was an open letter from some Twitter staff sent to Elon Musk, and it's not very long. I actually want to read this to you guys. This will not take very long. Staff, Elon Musk, and board of directors, we, the undersigned Twitter workers, believe the public conversations is in jeopardy. Elon Musk's plan to lay off 75% of Twitter workers. He came out and said something about laying off 75% of Twitter workers. Don't know if he was being serious or just trolling, because he trolls a lot. Will hurt Twitter's ability to serve the public conversation. A threat of this magnitude is reckless, undermines our users' and customers' trust in our platform, and is a transparent act of worker intimidation. Twitter has significant effects on societies and communities across the globe. Yeah. As we speak, Twitter is helping to uplift independent journalism in Ukraine and Iran, as well as empowering social movements around the world. I have so many thoughts I'm not going to go into in this. A threat to workers at Twitter is a threat to Twitter's future. These threats have an impact on us as workers and demonstrate a fundamental disconnect with the realities of operating Twitter. They threaten our livelihoods, access to essential health care, and the ability for visa holders to stay in the country they work in. We cannot do our work in an environment of constant harassment and threats. Without our work, there is no Twitter. We, the workers at Twitter, will not be intimidated. We recommit to supporting the communities, organizations, and businesses who rely on Twitter. We will not stop serving the public conversation. Let me get to the highlights here. I don't need to read the rest of this. We call on Twitter management and Elon Musk to cease these negligent layoff threats. As workers, we deserve concrete commitments so we can continue to preserve the integrity of our platform. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, we demand of current and future leadership. Jesus Christ. These people must live in a fairy tale world. Respect. We demand leadership to respect the platform and the workers who maintain it by coming to preserving the current headcount. Safety. We demand that leadership does not discriminate, against workers on the basis of their race, gender, disability, sexual, although he didn't say any of this, so I don't really know why the fuck they're saying this. He hasn't said any of this. Protection. We demand Elon Musk explicitly commit to preserve our benefits. Those both listed in the merger agreement and not. Remote work, for example. I'm all for remote work. Been doing that forever. We demand leadership to establish, again, the word choices. This is a piss poor communication. I got to tell you. Let's just finish it. We demand leadership to establish and ensure fair severance policies for all workers. We demand transparent, prompt, and thoughtful communication, which was not put into this open letter because this is a very demanding open letter around our working conditions. We demand to be treated with dignity. Well, I don't know how I'm supposed to treat you with dignity when you're coming off like a pompous ass writing this letter. Sincerely, Twitter workers. You know what's sad about this open letter, and I don't know how you personally feel about it. If anybody feels this is a great letter, hey, chime in the comments. We can have a healthy disagreement. That's fine if you think this is a great letter. I honestly respect everyone's opinions. I think this is a terribly written letter, and I think it's a shame that this is supposed to represent the Twitter community, because I would bet everything that I own in crypto, which right now, by the way, is not a fleet of Lambos. It was a fleet of Lambos. It's now a fleet of Geometras, as I say. Thumbs up to everyone tuning in. I would be willing to bet all of my crypto that this open letter does not speak for the vast majority of Twitter employees. But this open letter is out there. Clearly, the sense I get from this letter, I'll just give you my thoughts on this. These sound like a bunch of self-entitled, spoiled brats. That's what they fucking sound like. Welcome to the real world. This organization doesn't owe you shit. If you leave tomorrow and you give your 2 weeks and you're like, I'm out of here. I'm getting a 20% increase in pay. Bitches, I'm out. What do you owe that company? Look, you got paid. You were there. You put in a strong effort. You got your paycheck. You did what was required of you to maintain that job, okay? You don't owe the organization anything outside of that. The organization doesn't owe you anything outside of what it's obligated to do under law. This is a demanding, it's clearly a demanding letter because it has the word demand written in it numerous times. Whoever wrote this, whatever group wrote this, should be ashamed of themselves. This is an embarrassment. And it speaks to a broader conversation I have been speaking to on this channel since I first started creating the CBG podcast in 2020. At the end of 2020, when I first produced a video, I know at some point I've kind of touched on this. I really feel like society in general is going in the wrong direction. There is generally a self-entitlement philosophy throughout the country. Hence why I firmly believe that the country in general is headed towards socialism and moving away from capitalism. Like, I think it's a sad state of affairs. Think about it. I've hit on this so many times. We don't reward first, second, and third place. We reward participation awards. Like, children and adolescents are growing up in an environment where we're not taught the hard lessons of life, that not everyone gets a ribbon, not everyone gets a trophy. Okay, you got to work hard for that. You got to be talented. Some people, like, I was not born to be in the NBA. Okay? I'm trying to think of a sport I really sucked at. I sucked at volleyball. I was horrible at volleyball. All right? That's a reality I have to face. I shouldn't be in a tournament with other awesome volleyball players and everybody gets a participation award in that tournament. If I fucking suck, I shouldn't be getting an award for that. Right? So we're growing up in this environment that is just very, in so many ways, I could just go off on this for hours. No accountability, self-entitled, and this just speaks to this. This letter is a disgrace. Now, what's funny is, and I'll get to the comments, what's funny is if you have any comments you'd like to drink in. Yes, drink with me. Tell me what you're having to drink. I don't know where that came from. If you have any comments that you'd like to add, we can have a healthy debate, and we can have a healthy debate, a respectable debate, because I do value other people's opinions. Maybe there's something I'm missing with this. I'm open to that. But as of right now, this seems like a self-entitled, spoiled brat mentality letter, and it comes off as comes off horrible, like a horribly written letter. It just rubs me the wrong way. What's funny is if you go to Twitter and you go to Elon Musk, check this out. So he entered Twitter. He entered Twitter today. He says, entering Twitter headquarters, let that sink in. So, I don't know. I find the guy funny. Say what you will about him, but I find it entertaining. So let me see what comments we have here. Yeah, so good point. So entitled 20-something-year-olds demanding respect at a six-figure plus job that demands practically zero hard work. Laughing my ass off. Imagine. Yeah. I can't even imagine what some of these people are probably making. It took me years to get to a six-figure salary, many years to get to a six-figure salary. And a lot of these people are probably, to your point, 20-year-old kids, living in I won't go there, but I agree with your comment. John, good to see you here. Drinking a Guinness, good for you. I had a shock top the other day. I had a shock top. Belgian beer. Hadn't had one in a long time. They had a BOGO at Publix, so I had to take advantage of that. You got to take advantage of the BOGOs, Whether you're Instacarting like me or you're live in person. Hey, by the way, thumbs up, everybody. I'm not seeing a lot of thumbs up today, all right? Let's get some thumbs up going. Help support the channel. Whether you're Instacarting or you're live in person, you got to take advantage of the buy one, get one, Real quick, before we get back to some news, did want to share some information concerning a good series that I recently watched. I don't spend, for those who have been here again for a while, I've said this, I don't spend a lot of time watching TV. I kind of go through pockets of time where I just have I virtually watch no TV. And then I do find, I don't know if you guys find this, I find whenever I'm in a relationship, I watch more TV. You guys find this? I had this conversation with Minishift. Have I said this before? And he said it's interesting because he said commonalities is sometimes the one thing you'll find commonality in that you'll share with. It's you'll end up just watching TV together. I don't know. We had this conversation about it. But anyway, I go through pockets. I mean, most of the time I don't really watch a lot of TV, but I went through and watched the TV series The Watcher. And I would say that it was a really good, I would recommend it. It was a suspenseful TV show. It's just the only thing is the ending was just, and I know this it doesn't kill it, but the ending, quite frankly, sucked, in my opinion. It wasn't and hear what I'm saying. It wasn't okay ending it wasn't, no, it fucking sucked. But besides the ending, it was a really good show, so I would actually recommend it. Check out The Watcher on Netflix. By the way, Halloween weekend. Does anybody have any? Kevin One, well, I haven't seen you in a while, brother. Welcome in. What are you having to drink for happy hour? Does anyone have any plans for Halloween weekend? So I actually asked my students this today. One person is going to a Halloween party. My other student, his plans sounded as exciting as mine. I'm staying in this weekend. I'm just watching. Look, the Philadelphia Phillies are in the World Series, all right? What the hell do you think I'm doing this weekend? So game one is tomorrow. That's what I'm doing. The Eagles are off a bye week. So, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is just sports. I really don't have any plans outside of that. Although I'm going to get a little antsy. I'll probably try to figure out something on Saturday. I'll probably try and get out of the apartment and meet up with somebody on Saturday. But Nick, it sounds like you saw it as well. Dude, I don't even know how you have time to watch TV. I don't even know. Much like myself. Keep in mind, guys, I actually have a job. So it's trying to get out the videos and work in, and then it's challenging. So TV really takes a back seat, Unless if I'm in a relationship and then you bond and you watch TV shows together. Sometimes they're mindless TV shows. Sometimes you're laying there and you're watching the TV show and you're like, are we really watching this? This is killing my brain cells. But a lot of the times they're actually really good TV shows. So let's see here. Banshees of... Okay, so I won't close out of this chat. Thank you for the recommendation, Connor. I will check that out. I'll check it out because the other thing is I want to watch a scary movie this weekend. I want to watch something a little Freaky dicky. Freaky dicky. I want to watch something a little scary this weekend, so we'll see what goes on there. Okay, so I don't know about $60 quant, Nick. We might disagree there, but I saw your tweet earlier about $70 quant. I don't know about that. I mean, anything's possible, but I don't know about that. But we might have a healthy disagreement because I don't see $70, but it is a possibility. There's a probability for everything. I don't see it, but there's a probability. Interestingly enough, guys, I'm glad that Nick mentioned this. So I am aiming, my goal is to create another published video for tomorrow, and it's actually going to be on quant. So I'm going to take a look at the chart and kind of revisit areas of support and tell you what I think is most and least likely moving forward, and then areas of resistance as well. And talking about, I don't want to steal my own thunder, but I'm going to get into quant. So we'll see. Colin Farrell. Oh, I like Colin Farrell. And Brendan Gleeson. Okay. All right. Check it out. Santa rally. Yes. So typically we do see a Santa rally. Let's get into the charts, all right? We spent enough time talking about the news. The only thing else I wanted to... I have other things written down for the news, but we're not going to have time to talk about it. By the way, the Flare airdrop debacle. That's what I have written in my notes. The Flare airdrop debacle. Fucking A. Gonna have to talk about that next week. We don't have time to go into that right now. Son of a bitch. You know? I just put out a video, too. That's a funny thing. And everything about the video in terms of how it's set up structurally makes complete sense, and it still applies moving forward. It's just the price levels, USDY of XRP. I can't tell you what it's going to be fucking out in January. I was talking about something a couple weeks out that seemed very logical and probable, right? So now I have to put out another video on that. Anyway, this is an interesting article. Maybe I'll copy and paste this in email and send it to my CEO since he never replied to me from 3 months ago. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know, but I sent the CEO of the insurance company I work for, what was it, a 9-page or 12-page report on why the organization should invest in Bitcoin, eventually down the road crypto, but at least start just investing a fractional of a percent in Bitcoin. Of course, didn't get a reply on that. Guy's actually an actuary just like me. I figured I would have gotten at least a reply at this point just because I met him in person. He'd recognize my name. But I haven't gotten a reply, so I'm going to send him a follow-up email. Maybe I'll send him this. But anyway, 74% of institutional investors plan to buy digital assets. Fidelity survey shows. You know, I see sometimes these positive articles pop up every now and then, but especially when we're in such a depressed market, you see all the negativity, right? Bitcoin is used for money laundering. Nah, fuck, the dollar's never used for money laundering, right? Let's see what we got going on here. So there's a lot of charts that I wanted to cover. You know, actually, where I wanted to start off with is the dollar. I want to start off with the dollar index. So if you guys have been following my content for a while, or if you follow other value-added content creators like Encash, they have spoken in the past, and myself have spoken in the past, of the importance of the DXY, the dollar index. So simplistically stated, okay, we can chart the DXY just like any other stock or crypto investment, okay? All the DXY represents is the strength of the world reserve currency, which is the United States dollar, compared to a basket of other currencies, okay? So it measures the strength of the dollar versus other, you know, the Japanese yen, whatever. It just measures to a basket of other currencies, okay? And what happens is, you know, if you go back in the chart, historically, when there have been big drops in the dollar, there's been a massive surge in assets, like in the stock market and crypto, okay? When there's been a massive rise, there's been corrections in crypto and the stock market, right? So we can say, based on that information, that they have an inverse relationship. All right, so what I've been pointing to here on a daily chart, and again, it doesn't have to work this way. You can see we fell below the 50 moving average here and popped right up above it. But here what I'm signaling, beyond the stair steps, these are stair steps of support that we want to watch for the dollar to see how it interacts, okay? Now that we've broken these were prior areas of support before, so we want to see once they're broken down below them act as resistance. We want this to fall. We want the DXY to fall because it'll signal a rise in asset values like cryptocurrency. So first off, we see here what I'm pointing out is on the daily chart, we've fallen below a key moving average, the 50 simple moving average. Typically what happens is when price action falls below a moving average, it acts as resistance. So what we want to see in the coming days is, do we pop, okay? Do we pop right back up in this area and continue moving up? Or do we just sort of stagnate in here and then continue lower towards 108? I suspect we'll move towards 108. Why do I suspect we'll move towards 108? Guys, there are too many charts on Twitter. I've been looking at other people post charts I look at, and put together for myself since I'm a TA person. And I've been speaking to this. Thumbs up for everybody tuning in. You better be having something to drink for happy hour. You better drop a comment. Not everyone joining the happy hour has commented. Oh, wow, I just saw this comment. I am having an espresso martini. Well, welcome in, Kayleen. I would love an espresso martini. So if you could send that my way, I'd appreciate it. I haven't had one of those in a long time. But, what I've been speaking to is a lot of negative divergence that has been showing up in price indicators supporting the price, right? So what happens is, okay, in layman's terms, for people who are not technical analysts, what happens is you look at this price action, right? So this is one thing you want to look at. You see the price increasing in value, right? But then what you do is you start looking at things like the RSI. You start looking at things like the stochastic RSI and the MACD. And what these things signal to you is if they're decreasing in value as the price is appreciating or increasing in value, that's called a negative divergence. What that essentially says is there's weakness behind the scenes. There's cracks in the foundation of the pavement or the cement that's supporting the price. And eventually there's exhaustion. And price just sort of, it's like the end of your workout, right? You just hit, at some point during your workout, you're going and you're going and you're going, and then you hit this point and you're exhausted, right? So that's what's been signaled on this chart. So if I had to place a bet, and I've already placed a bet. Let me tell you, I've already placed a bet because I've signaled to you guys. I tweeted this out. If you're not following me on Twitter at Crypto Bull God, you need to give me a follow. I've signaled this. Everybody's so afraid that we're going to have this massive correction in equities and we're entering this massive depression. And I've said, hey, everybody's risk off. I'm fucking risk on. Balls to the wall, risk on. Like I have been scaling in massively more than I even thought I would in the past several months. Okay. So, it's very important to understand that if the popular narrative is swinging this way, and I've been saying this over and over again, if the popular narrative is swinging this way, you might want to take a look at the contrarian view, what the opposite side looks like, because chances are most people get it wrong, right? So what I tend to do is, as hard as it is, and don't think for 1 second, we look at this 12-hour chart. Guys, come on. Don't think for 1 second that during this time period of this chippy-choppy bullshit in Bitcoin and the rest of the market, that I and my emotions were not challenged, because they have been, okay? But thankfully, I have been an investor and a TA person for a long enough period of time, and in particular, I've been in crypto for a long enough time that I stuck to my guns, okay? And I didn't allow the emotions to weed myself out of the market. Could not say the same thing several years ago, okay? But I don't feed into this emotion. What I do is I evaluate this chart. I evaluate the USD chart. I evaluate the Bitcoin dominance chart and see us in a massive bear flag that I've been speaking about forever, right? And these things are still panning out. I look at relativities. I look at I don't have this pulled up right now. Guys, come on. Look at the Ethereum BTC chart. I have been seeing, and actually some technical analysts who I respect, who I have a differing opinion from, I have been seeing technical analysts saying there's going to be some massive breakdown in Bitcoin dominance here on Ethereum for a while, and it hasn't happened. And I'm like, guys, this fucker is just consolidating up here, and once we have a firm breakout, we're retesting all-time highs. I don't see a massive breakdown in Ethereum dominance. I don't see it. And in fact, a massive break up at some point would translate over to the theory that I have about Bitcoin dominance going down, okay? So again, just to revisit this theory, Bitcoin. Okay, as soon as we hear the word Bitcoin, we're thinking, well, if you're talking about Bitcoin dominance going down, that must mean that Bitcoin's USD value is going down. No. No, I've clarified this so many times. Bitcoin dominance going down, in my eyes, once we see a massive drop here that I'm theorizing is going to happen, what that means is Bitcoin is appreciating in value. But Ethereum, the king altcoin, and the rest of the altcoins, XRP, Matic, Solana, HBAR, Harmony One, Mana, the Holy Crypto Trinity. These assets will be appreciating at a greater value relative to Bitcoin. And overall, they'll gobble up market share such that the dominance of Bitcoin is actually bleeding down. That's the way this chart, that's how you need to read it. So I just continue to look at these charts, and again, they're, nothing that's playing out right now. And again, you go back to these new guys, you go back to these news narratives that we were talking about at the beginning of the channel. As much as I've been waiting for this, none of this stuff is surprising. Again, all the news narratives, all the news, all the human emotion, everything that's going to play, it's all in the chart. It's all in the chart. I just rely on the chart. The news stuff is interesting. I like to talk with you guys about the news, okay? It's very interesting to learn about things and understand how the world works and understand the psychology of human emotions and all these things. But all that stuff is baked into the chart. That's my view. That's what I have ascertained and gained knowledge of over the past several years, okay? I did not think this way many years ago, but it's how I feel today, all right? So again, the dollar index, let's just look to see how it interacts with 108. Bitcoin dominance, massive bear flag, nothing too new there. It's good to see Bitcoin sort of breaking out. This is a 1 week view. We're sort of breaking out of this descending line of resistance you can see here. Again, we need to get above 20, this is at like 24,000. We need to get above 24,000, okay? And ultimately what we need to do, excuse me, perdóname. No, wait, it's not perdóname. In Spanish, it is permiso. Is that correct? Does anybody speak Spanish here? I think it's permiso. Excuse me. I think that's correct. So this is a low. This is a high. This is a higher low. Now what we want to do is create a higher high, right? We really want to break above 25,000 and really ultimately interact with this descending line of resistance you can see here, okay? And break above here. And then it's just taking out this lower high and then taking out our all-time high. I mean, that's really, those are the basic building blocks of a bullish narrow. That's what we need to watch. But this week is looking pretty promising so far. So the title of the thumbnail, because I haven't really hit on this yet, I guess I want to clarify. First off, number go up is a meme. Okay, if you don't know, NGU is number go up, and it is a meme. But the reason I had that with a question mark is really what's taking place right now in the chart. We're seeing some push to the upside, right? We're seeing some push to the upside, and I tweeted this. It's not alarming, or it's not, not alarming. It's not surprising. Surprising is the word. That we're rejecting at the 200 simple moving average on the 12-hour because we've been doing that since August. And if we actually scroll back further in the chart, it's been happening further back since that. So we rejected at 200, rejected at 200, now rejecting at 200. We need to get above the 200. Guys, you've been here for a while. I've said this. Come on, smaller time frames. We need bullish momentum to pick up in the smaller time frames. And if it's sustained, it's going to bleed over into the higher time frames, okay? Lower time frame bullish price momentum bleeds over into higher time frame charts, okay? So right now, like, look at Bitcoin. It's down Look at this. The market's going down right now, which is fine. But we're down 2.72%. But ultimately, I'll tell you what we don't want to see, okay? What we don't want to see is a sharp decline and a break below the 50. I kept telling you guys, as confident as I am that we're going to continue up, we keep bouncing off this area. I don't like that. I do not want to come down here again. If we come down to around 18,700, then I am very willing to acknowledge that I could be wrong about the bottom. My suspicions that the bottom is not in, and kind of going with scenario 2 that we have some sort of capitulation event where it wicks. My theory is still that if the bottom's not in, we could have a slight wick below it at like 16.8 or 16.5 or something like that. Fakes people out. We're not going to 10. I do not think for 1 second we're going to 10 or 12 or whatever the hell people are saying, right? There's videos out there to kill your brain cells saying we're going to 3,000, which is absolutely fucking ridiculous, okay? But again, those are just fear porn videos set to feed into your emotions. Just like, look, guys, when we actually do start to break above 100, I guarantee you this, okay? I guarantee you this. I don't guarantee much on this channel, but I will guarantee you this. Once we start to actually get to a point where we're breaking 100,000, you're going to see these fucktards come out and tell you that we're in a super cycle and Bitcoin's going to 500,000, okay? It's the same stuff we're seeing right now with fear mongers saying we're going to 3,000. It's the same exact psychology movement there. So I don't want to see us go down to 18,000. Now, we can gravitate. Let's see how we close out today, okay? We can gravitate in this area here, okay, and even bounce off the 50, right? Use it as a springboard. Now that we're above the moving average, use it as support. Bounce off of it, come back up to the 200. Now, if we came back up to the 200 SMA on the 12-hour, it should be weaker in theory because we keep hitting the resistance, right, several times. So we could bounce up and maybe hit 22.5 as an area of resistance here. Now, what that's doing is not only are we increasing in price, but the moving averages, by the very nature of how they're calculated, because price is higher, they're going to begin to move up. So it increases the likelihood that we get a golden cross, okay? And if we're getting a golden cross in the 12-hour, as long as it's sustained and price action is still moving up and remaining bullish, that'll bleed over into the 1 day, and then the 3 day, and then the 1 week. So this is what we need to watch for. You guys should have, if you do have a basic understanding of charts, and I would encourage you, look, if you don't have a basic understanding of charts, you need to, in my opinion. You cannot just rely on me. You cannot just rely on other people on YouTube. You need to understand how to read a chart. I'm not saying you need to be an expert, but you need to at least be proficient enough to have a basic level understanding of how to read a chart. You need to, in my opinion, get a TradingView account, just a basic account, pay for a basic account. Pull up 12-hour, okay? Keep an eye on the 12-hour. Just have the 200 and the 50. Keep an eye on what's going on. I have enough videos. I have enough content on Twitter to help to facilitate knowledge on what's important in this chart so that you know what to watch for. Let's see what other charts I have here. Any questions? By the way, guys, we'll see, Nick. I'll take a look at Quant tomorrow and give you my honest opinion of what I see. But I don't. Again, I have to put some charts together for Quant. I have not done that yet, but I've at least been keeping a close enough eye that I don't. Again, anything is possible. But for us to get a correction that low at 65 and 47, we would have to have a much larger correction in the market. I just don't see that happening. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong plenty of times before. Ethereum, this is a weekly. Ethereum, this is a weekly. You can tell I'm talking too much. Guys, I got to take your questions at some point. Stop talking. Still thinking about that espresso martini because I am out of a red wine and I would not mind one. This is really good to see. What we've done is we've punched back. Guys, I've talked about this for a while. We've punched back above this area here, which was a prior all-time high area. This was red as resistance because we broke below. We've punched above it. Look at what's going on here. This is a weekly view. We're coiling up. We're coiling up, right? I just had a video out about that, coiling up, all right? So I'll have to see what happens here. Either we're going to break down or break up. I think you know which way I believe we're going. So we'll have to see. The price actually, just to be clear, we don't have to do this or have to do this. We could do this and then do this or do this, okay? So just to be clear there. But Ethereum looks in very good shape here. But ultimately, again, same concept, same comments as Bitcoin. We need to ultimately break descending resistance here, okay? You see it here. And then start to push to create a high, which is higher than this high, and create a low, and then we have a bunch of higher lows, and then punch up and create a new all-time high towards like 8,000 or whatever that's higher than that high, okay? Higher highs and higher lows. That's the name of the game. What other charts do I have here? I was going to get into DigiByte. Let me see. Somebody actually reached out to me with a question on this. No questions at the moment. Make sure you get your questions in for the TA Q&A segment. I have a few more charts to get to. Let me see what time it is. Oh, 6:47. We're in good shape. DigiByte. So I had someone reach out to me from, where the hell is this guy from? Give this guy some props here. Join later today and ask away. And then he said, he's from Finland. I love that people like tune in from all these different countries. Now, people could be bullshitting me. They could say, oh, I'm from Japan. I mean, who the hell am I? I don't know if you're from Japan or not. I will chart A0, Nick. Thank you for the question. But no, I mean, this guy says he's in, or guy or girl says he's in from, or do you say guy or woman? You say guy or girl? No, it's guy or girl and then man or woman, yeah. I had one glass of wine. It's not the wine. But he reached out about DigiByte, so let me chart this real quick. DigiByte, I haven't tweeted about this in a little while, but I put out a few charts. I own a pretty fat stack of DigiByte. CBG, why do you own a fat stack of DigiByte? Well, there are some fundamental reasons. There definitely are some fundamental reasons. But let me show you something here. I don't know if you're a proficient technical analyst, but if you have kindergarten skills, what the hell is going on here? Right? I mean, wouldn't we expect something, up in here? I mean, personally, I tweeted out, so there's not really much technical analysis that I need to do here. There's an uptrending line. We've sort of invalidated that line, which is not uncommon. I mean, it's nearly impossible for most assets to respect some sort of sharp, inclining line of support like this forever. I mean, that at some point it's going to get invalidated. Really what you want to look for are key areas of support and resistance and how it's interacting there. We're holding this key area. Look, I have this drawn as low as like 0.0078, and we've respected it. So there's nothing alarming here. I tweeted out the other day for this individual that asked the question. Thank you. I appreciate it. Shout out to, let me see here. Shout out to Crypto Saucer. Thank you for the question. I told you I would get to your question. I'm personally targeting 40 to 60 cents, which is, where are we at right now? 0.00864. So that's like, I don't know, it's just under a 50x, like a 45x maybe, all the way upwards of a maybe like 70x from current price levels. Yeah, at cycle top. So I know that seems like a long way away, but when we were down here and we shot up to here, that's the other thing. People forget how quickly the market moves. Like, let me show you something super quick, and then we'll get off DigiByte and go to DigiByte BTC. I want to show you when we topped here back in 2017, look how long we were in a correction. January, actually. Look how long we were in a correction. 791 days. That was over 2 years. For over 2 years, we were in a downtrend. Okay? So what happened when we went in an uptrend? When we topped out, it took 420 days. So it took like half the time. So people just forget how long this shit takes to correct, and then once it starts going up, it goes up quick. I mean, look, we went from 2 cents all the way up to like 20 cents in a matter of, from December 20 to April, in a matter of like 3 to 4 months, we pulled a 10x. So patience, everybody. I mean, when everybody is in, despair and everything, they forget how quickly this market moves. DigiByte BTC, so this is the strength of DigiByte relative to BTC. What do I have drawn here? Well, I sort of have this falling wedge. It's sort of tightening up. And the technical target would be somewhere up in this area, right? So what this is saying is that I anticipate at some point, you just have to be patient. This is a 6-week chart. This is a month-and-a-half chart, okay? We could draw this. Shit, you can see how long this thing's been around. It's been around for a long time. It's stood the test of time. This is a 2-month chart. Look how every candlestick is 2 months worth of price action. So you have to be patient. This thing may not break out all the way until like late or mid 2023. And if you followed me in a lot of the content I put out there, I said, hey, I'm hypothesizing that, right now, kind of the way I'm looking at the chart from a timing perspective, that we could see a Bitcoin top sometime between, I think I said April and July. So again, you're looking at it right now, we're entering November, and you're like, yeah, right, okay. So Bitcoin's going to go over 100,000 by April, July, right? Okay, you're on drugs. Clearly, no, I'm just high on life. And I am living in the land of reality and have seen these things play out plenty of times before, having been here since, invested since 2018. So it would not shock me one bit. Could be wrong, could be right. I've been both plenty of times. So hopefully that helped you out on DigiByte. H-bar, what would I say about H-bar? This is a 3-day chart. We're coiling up in a falling wedge. There's some bullish divergence on the RSI in particular I'm looking at. So long as the market continues to go in the direction I think what's going to happen sooner rather than later is we're going to challenge the 9 to 11 cent area. I think right up towards 10, 11 cents. Same thing with Harmony One. It's actually started to break out of its falling wedge. You can see a falling wedge right here. I don't need to redraw it. This is on daily. You can see a falling wedge here. And I have a target drawn up right around here, about 2.3 cents. Mana. Guys, come on. This I actually didn't want to talk too much to. I just want to zoom out. Look at the structure of this chart. Is this not, as a technician, is this not one of the most beautiful things you've ever seen? This to me is sexy. There's not a lot in my life right now that is sexy. So if I'm looking at a chart, like I said before, if I'm referring to a chart as sexy, that says a lot about what's going on in my life. But no, really, guys, come on. This is beautiful. We had this ICO. It shot up. We had a retracement. Then we had a stair step up, and a stair step up, and a stair step up, and a correction. And then we're going to expect a stair step up. Guys, I'm expecting Mana to go in the $20 to $30 range. Let's just say $20 range. I'm expecting it to go in the $20 range. I know that sounds crazy right now, but let me ask you a question. If I told you back in 2020 when it was sitting at 3.5 cents that, oh yeah, I think Mana's going to be like $3, $4, $5, would you have thought I was on crack? Come on, cocaine's a hell of a drug. I'm not on it. It's just the reality of being in an immature market that's very early on. And these assets, once things go parabolic, shit gets parabolic. This is beautiful market structure. I love the setup here. You're getting in, guys, if you get in Mana right here, you're getting in at price levels right before. Go back. If you really want to test me and see if I'm being honest with you, go back to my tweets in 2020 and 21 about Mana, in particular 2021. I was loading up in here. We're at the same price levels we were back in 2021. I was like, Jesus Christ. Guys, we had a correction from, now it went up a lot higher than I thought it was going to. I will say that. But it hit $1.60. We corrected all the way in this 60, 70 cent area. And I was like, we went all the way down to 50 cents actually. And I was like, guys, this is a great buying opportunity. Then we shot up to $6. So I'm just saying, we're at the same price levels now we were before this massive run up. Great opportunity in my opinion. Reef, look where we're at. We're right in the zone I spoke about. I have another area of support right here at about 0.53 cents. I scaled in here. I scaled in right above here, actually, and I scaled in down here, okay? And if we're staying in these suppressed levels longer, I will put more fiat to work. So we're right in the consolidation zone of what I spoke to. Nothing surprising or alarming here. Injective protocol, we're still in this sort of wedge pattern / ascending triangle if you draw it differently. Sort of just coiling up, okay? Nothing surprising there. Oh, I just closed out of the chart. I'm sorry. I wanted to show you this real quick. Actually, I wanted to show you this one because this is something I haven't spoken to in a while, but you can see Flux. This is a newer project. You can see the downward resistance, but what I wanted to point out is this golden pot. This is one of these ones that worked out really well that I spoke to, and they don't always work out that well. But I spoke to this golden pocket. Guys, look where we've been at. We've just been consolidating in this golden pocket. 5-day chart. Let's look at the 3-day, see how we look. Yeah, 3-day. MACD's starting to flatten out. As long as the market is going in the general direction, I feel like over the next several weeks, we should expect to pop up in this chart towards this area. Okay? towards like $1.16, a dollar. Right up towards the dollar, $1.16. We should expect to pop up there. Last chart, I'll get to questions. Maple, no, not a good candlestick. This is a 2-day. Oof, not a good candlestick here. This is a trend reversal, typically. We have a falling wedge here. We also have, what I wanted to point out, we hit resistance, resistance, resistance. We got above it, and we've been respecting it as support, and we have a falling wedge. So to me, that looked very bullish for a trend reversal. So we'll have to see how this plays out. Typically, these are trend reversal candlesticks, although sometimes in these smaller market capitalization projects, they're not as meaningful. We'll hit on Quant tomorrow. There was a trend reversal candlestick there. I'll also hit on market exuberance with that one. I was seeing a lot of stuff on Twitter that suggested me that the top was, the local top was in store. So let's get to some questions. Oh, props to Nick. Yeah. So one of the channels I really firmly believe in, I'm not being sarcastic whatsoever right now. Not being sarcastic whatsoever. So one of the best channels that I go to when I really want some fundamental understanding of how I should invest and how to look at things moving forward, Moon Carl. I mean, you know, I just have to give him so much credit. Guarantee you, when things start going up, he's going to be calling for $1 million Bitcoin. He doesn't sell any of his Bitcoin. Yeah, he's a fucktard. You know what's funny actually about him real quick? I don't like to talk about other channels much. I don't really want to do that, but since you brought it up, I will. You know what's funny is when his channel first started out back in 2018, I was subscribed to his channel, and he actually provided decent technical analysis. Decent. It was decent, you know, and I'd watch it. You know, I'd watch it in the mornings. He was not hype at all whatsoever. I'm being straight with you. Go back to his, I don't even know if he still has videos up. Go back to Moon Carl's videos back in 2018. You tell me if he had hype material. He didn't have hype material. He did TA. It was basic, but I respected it. And then at some point, just shit turned. Shit turned, and I was out of there really fast. So, but that's happened with other channels too, for me. All right, let's take a look at A0. And then I'll take one other charting question. And John, do you have any questions? It's good to see you here, buddy. Do you have any questions? Any TA questions? I'll take a look at A0. And then I'll take one other charting question. What was I last charting on my blank chart? Oh, I think this was during a TA session with you guys. I looked at AVAX. That's right. Avalanche. I've charted this one before. I don't know how it's looking now. I know last time I looked, it was like around $1 or less than $1. So, yeah, it's been under here for a while. So what would I say? I would say it's fucking going to the moon. And I think that this is definitely going to... It is, I guarantee you with certainty, this thing is going to $1,000. That is my assessment of this chart. It's going to $1,000. And that's all the TA I have on this. And if anybody clips that and puts it on YouTube, then I don't like you very much. So this is a daily chart. Let's see what we got. So this is good to see. So one thing I really quickly want to point out to you on a lower time frame, why do you think I did this? Well, I wanted to see on a lower time frame if there was any bullish divergence. So one positive thing to see here. Hey, by the way, before I forget, before we tune out, thank you. I was, by the way, prices, let me quick make this point and I'll say what I was going to say. Prices going like this is just sort of going wibbly wobbly. Wibbly wobbly, like that? Wibbly wobbly. But the RSI is increasing in value. So we have some bullish divergence in the RSI, which is really good to see. So momentum, meaning even though price, in layman's terms, even though price is just sort of stagnating and going like this, okay, strength is picking up in the chart, which is really good for us to see if you're a holder, okay? One of the things I wanted to hit on before I continue on this chart, I listened to something recently that made me think of sharing this with you guys. I I just wanted to express appreciation for everybody who tunes in, because the reality is it works both ways. So, I won't get too wordy here, but I wanted to make sure to mention this. So you're tuning in because you find my content helpful, right? And maybe you find my sense of humor corny and somewhat entertaining, okay? But you find the content educational in nature, right? Well, the reality is it's a two-way street, because if I didn't have the engagement from the community and you didn't express interest, and what's up, Ugos? Speaking of which, if you didn't express interest and you didn't express support, like everyone does, I mean, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't come out here and spend time, as much as I love cryptocurrency. Like, I wouldn't. What the hell would be the sense of coming out here if there were 0 viewers on here, no one tuned in, right? So, as small, whether I have 500 views, 5,000, 50,000, whatever, 5 million views on a video, just a sense that there's people engaging with me and watching and supporting me. I just want to express appreciation, genuine appreciation, because, it really. It's like I said, it's a two-way street, and it's a community at the end of the day that is supportive of one another. So just wanted to say thank you. So we have some bullish divergence on the RSI taking place here. Let's see what else we have going on. Let's get off the price indicators. Let's just take a look at price action. So we do have some descending resistance that's rather obvious to me that I would point out. We have this right here. So notice what I'm doing. When I personally draw this resistance, there's a lot of volatility in something like this, especially because it's a smaller market cap. You could draw this a couple different ways. You could draw it like this if you want, from the top of the wick, so long as you don't go through candle bodies. But one of the things I want to emphasize to you, there's two considerations when drawing descending resistance. One, do not go through candle bodies. This is not valid. I've seen people do this and I cringe at it. This is not valid resistance. If you want to show the entire resistance of this channel of price, it's like this. And the other thing I want to say is, the more touches, this is almost a touch, the more touches, the more validity to the resistance, the more weight it carries, right? So to me, this is more significant. Sorry, just thought of an inside joke there on sniffing. So this is more significant than something like this, because you really only have 4 touches. Here, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 touches. Okay, so it's a lot more apparent. And then what I would also do is I would draw upwards like this and have a little bit of support there. So potentially, we could come back. We could come back here, maybe back test, and then push up. I would suspect, so one thing I would say, Nick, is I would suspect with something like this, especially with where the market is at, and I'm expecting more upside, I would suspect the next time we push up here, this is a daily chart, next time we push up here, we're going to break. Now, the next area of, it looks like I had this drawn as support at one point. The first area of resistance would be at about 99 cents, okay? Makes sense, right, guys? Because, $1 is a psychological level, right? Everybody talks about anything that's under $1. Everybody tweets about, this project's going to $1, right? $1, $10, $100, they're all psychological levels. So the first area of resistance, once this is broken here, is 99 cents to $1. I don't have another area of resistance until around $1.07 around $1.07. And then the next area looks like around $1.12 to all the way up to $1.14, okay? Keep in mind, these are zones of support and resistance. So like this is $1.12 to $1.14. This is like $1.07, maybe $1.08. This is 99 cents to $1. That's what I see on this chart. Hopefully that was helpful. Nick, I'll take a look at that. I'll take a look at that this evening. I have no exciting plans besides. Hey, what is John? I can appreciate it. I do that all the time. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said earlier, thank you for the support. Enjoy your Guinness. You don't have to talk or type. So, although getting back to an earlier point, I do wish some of this stuff. I wish YouTube could have a thing where I could click a button and put Nick on it. We could interact and then put them on mute. You know, I'll be like, all right, you're on timeout. And then I go to John, and John, I can interact with John, but they don't have that feature right now. What I was gonna say is, what is everyone having for dinner this evening? I am using my air fryer that I referred Credible Crypto to, my Ninja, and I'm having some barramundi, and I already chopped up some Brussels sprouts. I have a little marinade for that, a little lemon juice, olive oil, and Parmesan cheese. Saute that up with some onions. Yeah, gonna be good to go. So, yeah, I don't have anything else that I was gonna chart. I am gonna take a look at Nick's Doge versus Casper chart. Interesting. I'll have to take a look at that. That's really kind of piqued my interest because Doge went on a hell of a run. Doge, real quick. Actually, let's look at this and then we're going to tune out. Doge, since you brought it up. I mean, guys, I'm not here to talk to you about the fundamentals at this point. I'm just talking about the technicals when I bring this up. Tortellini sounds good. The Italian in me. It's a stair-step function. A stair-step down, a stair-step up, back down, back up, back down, and we're going to go back up, you know? I mean, I find it highly unlikely that we're not going to go well over $1 once we go up in Doge here. I mean, this thing hit a high of 74 cents. Yeah, so something in the $2 or $3 range seems highly likely in my opinion. But high level, just looking at the chart. So, all right, guys. With that being said, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate everyone making time for the live stream. Be on the lookout. Got the sniffles. Be on the lookout for a video drop tomorrow on Quant. I'm going to do some technical analysis on Quant. And we'll take a look at the market psychology and currently where we're at and what my thoughts are in terms of price levels of support, where we might go, and then price areas of resistance. And in general, what I think, looking at the chart on different time frames. So with that being said, thank you for tuning in. It does it for another happy hour edition for Crypto Bull God. So continue to spread awareness and carry the education forward. Thanks, everybody.